Yo, everybody, what is up? Why can't I get on TikTok? That doesn't make any sense. Let me try it again. It says I don't have an internet connection, but I have an internet connection. Doesn't make any sense. Anyways, if you're just logging on, let me know who you are and where you're from. And if you have any questions for me, let me know. If you are new to following me, I'm coming to you from the Welton residence. If you are new to following me, I am a physical therapist from the Tampa Bay area. I got a clinic where, like, I call it the I've failed everything clinic because people walk in all the time and they're like, I've failed everything. And I've learned to get exceptional results in that patient population. It's not something I worry about clinically. Every once in a while, somebody gives me a run for their money, my money, but in general, you know, it's not something that I find to be overly difficult. I've been teaching this for 10 years. I publish papers that if you click the school group below, it's about VIP Inner Circle. I've published papers that are have made medical history, not just orthopedic history, medical history. I put the graphic on all my social media, and if you take that graphic, the analytics from the journal about how many the reads 3 to 5 years post publication, and upload that to AI and ask it about the analytics of of the reads 3 to 5 years post publication. It says it's landmark, foundational, and historic papers. So I wrote numerous papers that have now made medical history. So I use those protocols. I use my protocols to in my diagnostic methods to diagnose and treat. And so I teach this, like it's not something that like, oh, like people tell me they're like, Ryan, I want to open one of your clinics, but I'm not you. I can't do what you do. And I'm like, yeah, you can because I literally develop protocols. So you just cut and paste what I'm doing, the protocols that I use in my clinic for each condition. In my rehab results courses, I have courses, and boom, cut, paste, and now you're using the same thing I'm doing. Where I get exceptional results in my clinic. Like I said, I'm generally not worried about the stuff I see every day. So, anyways, if you click the link below to my free VIP school group, I'm talking more in there about diagnostics, about treatment, and also difficult cases, case studies, and I also have an advanced clinical mentorship where I work with people live with live Q&A, and then also you get 59% off all of my courses, which is what people want. And that's what I do to get my patients out of pain immediately, and that's what I do to get the results that I get in my clinic. So, anyways, it's so when people say, Ryan, I can't do what you can do, how can you not? Like if I do the same protocol with tennis elbow or something, and you do that same protocol and you have the right diagnosis, it doesn't make any logical sense. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, that's that. So, today I am talking about how to increase patient compliance. By the way, if you're just logging on, let me know, who you are, where you're from. If you have any questions for me, let me know. But how to increase patient compliance. So, all right, I've been a physical therapist 20 years. Actually, we're going to 2026, so 21 years coming up. And 2 decades of this job, which I love. A lot of people at this point in their career, like especially like people I know, like business owners, are like trying to get out of it. Like they're tired of treating patients. Like I love it, man. You know, I'm an inventor, so like it's fun for me. I'm always coming up with new things and new ways of doing things that I teach in the free school group below. Click below. And but I love it. I don't, you know, I love what I do. I don't know what else I would do. I love being a physical therapist. Now, do I think it's healthy to work in a mill? No, I don't think it's healthy. Do I think that people who have mental health issues working in a mill? Yeah, that's not good. But I work for myself, so I see as many patients a day as I want, you know? Anyways, um, increasing patient compliance. Patients, what I've learned in 20 years, and we learn through the fire, if you ask me, meaning patients get mad at you, patients quit on you, they don't, oh, this person doesn't know what he's doing, like that kind of thing. Like I've been through it all. And, despite the fact, like in my mind, I'm like, there's zero chance I can't help this patient, they'll get like skeptical and quit, you know? And I'm like, like with that condition in the medical field, oh man, you just signed up for a lifetime of suffering, from what I see in my clinic all day long, where I call it the upfield everything clinic, and I had to learn to detach from that and realize that everybody had their journey, and I can have the savior complex, like trying to save everybody, Um, but when it comes to compliance, compliance meaning that they finish their treatment plan is what I'm saying. They do their home exercise program and finish their treatment plan. Now, if someone gets something for free, generally they don't value it. So like work comp, it's free. People hate work comp, but it's free. So, I know that there's an issue with patient compliance when it comes to work comp. But when it comes to like my clinic, I own a highly successful cash-based clinic. We charge $400 for 30 minutes. People say nobody's going to pay you that. Yeah, right. There are, or people everybody wants to use their insurance or whatever. I hear all the time. I'm like, no. There are people that have failed everything and are desperate for someone that is invested in their education and knows what they're doing. And I just all day long, I've been doing this for well over a decade, 17 years I've been in business, and people will pay you if you know what you're doing. And they'll go out of network, especially with some of these debilitating conditions like SI joint, sacral torsion shear. And there's clinics now all over the country and soon to be all over the world that are doing these chronic pain clinics based on my methods. Really cool. Anyways, sorry, I digress. So getting back to compliance is what I've found is if something happens in the rehab that you did not, or the patient did not expect to happen. Now you don't know what they expect or not expect, because everybody's coming through the lens of, like their own life, and who knows what happened or didn't happen, and but if something happens in in under your care that they did not expect to happen and they didn't think should happen. Like, how do you know what they think should happen? Well, this took me years to figure out. This took me so much frustration and headaches between patients and me, trying to explain it to them after it happened. Like, no, 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 this is just part of the game, like it's part of rehab, you get flare ups, you know? And then finally, I realized that that wasn't working. And what I started to do is at the outset of rehab, I would start to tell people, okay, so a rhomboid spasm rehab, we need to strengthen it. The reason why it hurts on the medial border of your scapula is because you have a weak rhomboid. It's that's why it hurts. So we need to strengthen it, I would say, you know. But I noticed that people would get really angry like 3 weeks into it, when like the first 3 weeks, because they are strengthening a muscle that's angry, and therefore they're like, what the heck, man, you're hurting me. No, I'm not hurting you. You're you have a weak muscle that went like this. Those things hurt, by the way. I've had that went like this, and we have to strengthen it. There's no way around it. I don't like putting people in pain, but rhomboid spasms, you have to strengthen it, right? And um, and I used to lose people, and they're like, "Oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing," or whatever. And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" I don't have problems with rhomboid spasms. Like, I don't even know when the last time I ever like failed in a rehab with it. Like, what? You know? And what I realized is that for the first 3 weeks, these people can have an increase in pain. So what I then I sta- so I started telling people, physically telling people, you could have an increase in pain, right? But they would forget, and I would still get blamed. And I'm like, huh, But what do they say? Like people need to be told 3 times. I'm one of those people. So I'm like, okay, so what can I do? Can I get my hand out? I'm like, nah, this is 2000. This is the 21st century. We're going to do videos. Okay. So I started recording these exercises of what I would do, but I started to warn them about all the quote unquote complications or just normal stuff to rehab for us clinicians, warn them about the complications that could happen, meaning you could get more sore in your rhomboid muscle, right? And when I started to warn them about what could happen, then that's when when it does happen, they don't blame you, and they don't assume that you don't know what you're doing. And the shoulds in their mind, that should be happening, like I should just get better, like week one I should be totally better. Like it's unrealistic. If you want lasting change, you got to do the work, but I didn't know that they didn't know that. So I started warning them about the time frames that this take, and that in a rhomboid spasm you're going to be sore for about 3 weeks, and that's normal. That's a normal part of the process. And here's why, is because you have tight pecs, you have weak rhomboids, and that's why it's angry. So it just contracted, and you have pain. You know. So I started warning people about it. Now, SI joint is a little trickier to manage expectations because there's so many things, variables that can happen, and it's such an up and down process. When it's in, it's in. You feel good. When it's out, it's out. It hurts like hell, you know. And when it hurts like hell, then they think that they're not getting better. And then there's all different personalities, right? You have black and white thinkers. I can be a black and white thinker sometimes. And you have all different personalities, meaning like um, you know, I was better 2 days ago, but now I'm not better. And if I'm not better, I'm never going to get better. So give me my money back. I'm out of here. And it's like, huh? Like what? Yeah, I mean, so what I found with the black and white thinker crew is if you record a video and record a video of all the things, go through the exercises and keep it with you, okay, in your clinic, and of all the exercises and all the things that could happen, like SI joint dysfunction. People used to quit on me because they weren't better in like 2 weeks, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're moving the biggest bones in your body, your pelvis, you're back into a different alignment. That takes time, man. Like, what do you mean you're not, that's not how this works. And then I started to realize that their expectations of how this rehab should go was not in alignment with reality, right? But how do they know? They're not a physical therapist, right? The patients, right? So, so I started saying, saying it takes 2 to 6 weeks. Even they call it my SI joint speech. Everyone gets it. I don't even. People come into my clinic. They're like, "Dude, I listened to you online," and they come in to be a patient, and they're like, "I know the speech, your SI joint speech, because you talk about this, right?" And I'm like, yeah, well, you're going to get it again because I need to make sure you hear this. And it takes 2 to 6 weeks to even start noticing a difference. And then good days and bad days. And some days you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm getting better. The next day, the next week or weeks, you are hurting again. That is normal. It is a good thing. It holds you some hours, some days, just not every hour, every day. But eventually, for the laws of physics, it locks in. I don't believe in no pain, no gain. If you are hurting yourself, back off. All of these exercises be done 2 to 3 times a day. Once a day doesn't work, don't try it. Um, and I don't, when it comes to, and then the biggest issue, especially the holiday season, I've done video after video after video. If you click the school group, the VIP group below, you will, you will, get, you will I talk about this. I call it back spasm season, the season we're in, the holiday season, because any given time in my low back pain, chronic low back pain clinic, I have 1 to 2 people in my entire caseload in a back spasm. They did some stress, hit them in life, and their back wrenched. And they get really mad when that happens. During the holiday season, it goes up to 40%. So this year, I started to warn people about back spasms. So all these last 2 weeks since I got back from Thanksgiving, I've been talking about back spasms because 40% of my patients, like just like last year, went into back spasms from stress, from holiday stuff, from hosting, from stress, from lifting, vacuum sweeping, mopping, long car rides, plane flights for Thanksgiving, you name it, they did it, and they have a back spasm. But I used to lose them, they used to quit, but not anymore. And the reason why is because I warned them about this, So if you manage expectations, then people don't quit on you. As far as people that don't do their exercises, I used to be all like stressed out about it, and then I'm just like, you know what? I think there's a divine intelligence called intuition within all of our minds. And I believe that our intuitive mind knows the outcome of all the situations that you enter into in the quantum field. Just my theory. And so when you walk into a clinic of a guy that knows how to fix an issue or a girl that knows how to fix an issue, and they're not worried about fixing it, and you get skeptical and say that this person doesn't know what they're doing and walk out, then that's on you, man. Like I don't take it personal anymore, and I learn to detach. I know what's going to happen generally with that condition in the medical field, especially if it's a mechanical condition that people don't screen for. I know it's usually years, decades of suffering just based on what I do for a living, but like it is what it is. I mean, I learned to detach and I had to because it used to stress me out. But I didn't have anything to do with it. I did the best I could to convince you to stay, or to do your exercises or whatever. I don't usually have the exercise people that don't do their exercise problem because I don't take insurance, so people are invested. But like work comp, that kind of stuff, I understand. So, anyways, that's that. But yeah, create videos of everything that could happen, all the complications, the flare-ups, in the time frames that people generally start to notice a difference, like 3 to 5 weeks, something like that. But err on the end of like 5 weeks if you're going to say that, because everything else is a bonus to them. Okay, so that's all I've learned to manage expectations and increase compliance. Okay, peace, love you all.